Well, hello everybody. My name's Dr. JD Swanson and welcome to 15 Minutes of Thought. Today, this is part 4 of Heian Yondan. So we did 2 parts with Heian Nidan, 3 parts with Heian Sandan, and 4 parts with Heian Yondan. Today, we're going to finish it out. So we're going to move on from basically the Kikiwakyuke, the Maigiri, and the double punch. So from here, let's get started. Hey? Us. Very good. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to warm up, going through the kata 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, right, all the way to these guys. Bang, 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 up, round, kick, bop, bop. So what I would like you to do is play through that. If you need help, go through either part 1, part 2, or part 3, okay, as you wind your way through, just to make sure that you're keeping some of the important points in mind as we go through, right? So with that, press pause, go through the kata up to that point a couple of times, and then come back. Excellent. So you've gone through those parts. Now let's just sort of carry on. So a couple of things that we just sort of talked about last time with the Kikiwakyuke. Make sure from the korsarachi as you turn, make sure in and up. Again, I go all the way to almost an ikwashidachi type stance. I push out off both legs. Both elbows drop as I push out. This helps coordinate my motion and coordinate my technique. From here I kick, I shoot, I kick straight through the gun sight, right, straight through the center here. Jordan, don't move this hand, kick, push, up, push. As I come around for the next, it's the same idea. Low and high, right? So again, here, up. Then feed out, right? Leave this hand where it is. Kick Jordan, 1, 2, 3. Good, this idea. So make sure that that's in. Make sure on that second punch, as I land, boom, make sure this rear hip, this guy here, actively pushes in. Don't just make it empty. Make sure push to make that technique. So, just go back, just recap those movements very, very quickly, just to make sure everything works. Press pause. Excellent. Okay, so you've played with those. We're down here, we've made Zenkutsudachi. We have our left leg forward, right hand out. Now from here, moving into Kokutsudachi. It's really important as you go, in my mind, there's 2 things. 1, line of movement, and 2, timing of your hands. So I'm going to show you multiple ways to do this. So I'm going to talk about sort of where you want your hands and your foot timing. So when I'm here, as I load, what I do when I'm teaching beginners, when I'm teaching sort of green belts and so forth, I teach them it as 2 separate movements. 1 to load, and again, the load that I was taught by Sensei Guichina back in New Zealand, which is one of the ways Kanazawa Sensei used to do it, is this rotation, hard round, turning my thumb all the way around. This hand here sits right on top of the tricep, and then coming to the block, right, to the Mirotuke. The other way, of course, that you can do this is, of course, just koshi kamae. Do I care which one you do? Not at all, right? Move with whatever fits your boat. For me, here. Some people here. Either's perfectly okay. So, as you make your load, whatever that is, then feel this elbow and this hip connect across. Feel here, 1, then this coordination of hip, knee, elbow, together, into position, right? The next thing that's important is make sure that you're moving into Kokutsudachi. So for example, if I'm here and I'm on the 45 and I'm just using this is the straight angle here, this is my, the front of the room is pointing this way. You want to make sure effectively that your foot simply moves along this line. So what will happen is as you make that connection, this foot here will actually shift your body weight back. If you stay in Zenkutsudachi, you're going to be shifting forward. So make sure as you make that shift from here Zenkutsu, where this is expanded out, you load, take the back stance. Make sure you go into back stance. That's critical. It's a straight shift across the line towards the front of the room. I'm simply sliding my foot down parallel to the front of the room. Okay? So that's important. So as you're here, feel this load, feel a shift, and develop that feeling. So what I would like you to do is try that to start with. Try load, then feel the whole body whoom, shift across. Press pause, give that a go for a couple of rounds. Excellent. Okay, so you've got that feeling, that sort of oneness at the end. That's not how you actually do it in the kata. That's a training aid, a way to sort of expand a complex movement to make it simple. Once you get used to that, now simply turn the hip, but move your hands fast. So allow here, now just move your hands quick to make that connection, right? Simply move your hands quick, right? Move your hands quick to make that position. Move your hands quick to make that position. So you can start your foot moving and then. The key thing is make sure that it finishes together. It must move. The elbow and the hip must be moving together to make this movement effective. Don't, right, and worse, don't be a clever clogs and move quick where it's all disconnected. Make it one beautifully synchronous motion together. So with that, try the quick version. Try moving your arms super fast, then have that same hip, have the same hip shift, the same hip shift, the same hip shift, and just increase the speed of your arms. With that, press pause, give it a go. Excellent. Okay, so you've got that. Now from here come the marotukes. The marotes, and I know I've talked about this in other videos, remember the idea is not to sort of have this pushing, but have both arms kind of moving forward. The way I do this is I have my funny bone, I have a very sticky out funny bone, it's here. I push these two knuckles just above my funny bone here, right? So you can sort of see funny bone, knuckles push in here. This way, not back here, but rather here. So when I do that, that allows me this feeling of pushing forward. Because why would you bang, bang, bang? You're not just sort of poo, poo, clearing the way. You're fighting. And again, it's in back stance because you're advancing slowly, right? It's this sort of idea of here block counter, here block counter, whatever you're thinking. So this is sort of that idea, almost a sort of Wing Chun-y, Kung Fu-y kind of feeling, right? It's sort of that flavor of technique. So you're here, you make the first, then as you go, again, your choice, right? You can either go into a full load this way or into koshi kamae and push. The feeling though is as you drive, keep your stance restricted, keep it in kokutsudachi, but allow your hands and your feeling to be forward. Allow the hands to be forward. Don't throw it to the side because it just doesn't work. And don't throw yourself forward so hard that you bounce out of stance and bounce back. Keep your stance moving from the transition, kokuts to kokuts. And meanwhile, hands forward and in. Have that kind of flavor to make those 3 steps. So from here, try it all the way from the punch. 1, 2, 3, as you go. As you become more advanced, you can make this slightly more circular, slightly quicker, slightly smoother, right? And as you move up the stairs, rather than sort of a direct 1 and 2, you can start to feel it flow through the action of the technique. Press pause, give those 3 a go. Okay, so what you've done is you've come down the line here. You've gone 1, 2, 3. Now what I want you to do from here is simply feel that push straight forward. So all you're going to do from here is feel shift. There's 2 ways to do this. One is simply the heel rotate, or you rotate on the ball of the foot and drive forward. The second is a push, like so. Again, the feeling is not to push to the side, but rather push up. If the heel moves, it just pushes. If you push off the heel and drive forward, it pushes this way. The difference between the two comes down to this idea of here. If you are a straight step upper for this, which some organizations do, then what you want to do is you want to stay in place, right? You want to keep this leg here. If you have the shift, which is the much more common version, then you want to adjust for that shift by moving the front foot, right? Again, it's very critical. If this is my opponent here on these two lines, it's critical that you don't want to go from here and reach across and totally go out of line with that opponent. If you do shift your front foot, make sure you push straight in, straight along the line, straight along the line. Make sure, a couple of things, make sure this is head height. Don't grab Charlie Brown, right? That's not so good. Here, this feeling, right? So, we're here, our last Marotuke. Push. Good. Now from here, as you do the knee lift, or as you do the hizagi, make sure that you grab their ears before, or the back of their head, before you pull. Don't pull and grab on the way, right? Otherwise you're not grabbing anything. So make sure grab first, then pull. Second thing, as you drive, don't leave your hips behind. When I do this, make sure the hips come forward in the push, drive this way. Third thing is, as you go through, what I want you to do is don't bend the elbows, move straight from the shoulder. If you bend from the elbows and pull them in towards you like this, which is tempting, all you're going to do is guide their head right into your stomach. It's going to miss the knee and you're just going to wind yourself. It's only through pulling through the shoulders down that this goes in. The last thing that I was taught, which I think is important, I see it 50-50 in people, is the position of the foot. For me, I point my toe. Why? Because it was how I was taught, but the reason why is you look at people who use hizagiri all the time, the kickboxers. You never see a kickboxer up with their foot up in the flexed position. It's always down, right? And they use their knees all the time. I was told that it sort of strengthened sort of the knee joint a little bit by having it down. Don't know if there's much truth to that. But from here, I pull down this way. So, hip through the shoulders, grab first. Grab, pull, like so. Then, as you make that turn, grab here. As you turn, what I tend to do is I put and touch this foot to my knee. I squeeze to give me the ability to turn and push back into stance. So one more time, it's here. Grab, pull, hip, drive, foot flexed. Then push, turn. This idea. If you need help doing it, think grab, pull up, then turn, then push. Don't be afraid to simply break it down as you move. Then you can combine the whole action together. So what I would like you to do is go through that. Practice just from the marote, the reach across, marote, reach across, hiza, turn, push, down into kokuts. Give that a go, and I'll see you in a second. Excellent. So we've just done the push. Kiai is here, of course. We've turned, we've blocked. Last movement, stepping forward. Normal, easy kokuts. Things to remember. No, that ain't it. Cover your center line. 2 magnets. Tonk, tonk, as it moves. From there, yame. Control your body as you step up. And with that, we've actually completed the kata. So what I would like you to do is go through the entire thing, pick out pieces that you want to work on, and then come back to me. Whatever you do, when you train in Heian Yondan, even if you're a 5th dan or 6th dan, don't just go through the kata for the sake of building reps. Always go through the kata to fix the pieces that you got wrong. There might be one minuscule detail that you want. Know what that is before you walk into it and fix it from there. So from here, the entire kata. And then I have one last piece just to help you out with a little bit of a performance thing. With that, give it a go. Good. Okay, so the last comment on Heian Yondan, it's this beautiful expression of center movement together with your body and the control of it, right? Boom, being controlled in the Marotu case, coming back down the line and not falling into the temptation of driving into Zenkuts. The last thing that you've probably noticed is that when you do the kata, if your embassy is, say, right here, quite often when you finish the kata, you'll be one entire stance length back, right? And you see that quite often with people, is that they'll come in and they finish the kata behind their embassy line. And people yell at them, my goodness, you did not do the kata right. The answer is the kata cheats. There's actually a cheat to this. And so what you need to think about, and I'm just going to grab something right here, right, just to mark my embu point. The thing that becomes important here, in order for me to get back to exactly this position, if I do the kata, and I'm just going to do it high for you. So 1, 2, right? Then from here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I come out and I go out exactly on the 45-degree angle. Kick, bang, bang. Out exactly on the 45-degree angle. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This puts me almost, my front leg almost in line with my embu point. And I come up, I'm one stance behind. If you want to fix that, what you do, you know this top part here, where it's at 45 degrees? It's a big fat lie. Instead, make those as shallow as possible. So let me show you. If we're here, and I'll sort of illustrate the kata out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If instead of here I come, instead of coming to this angle, right, I cut further to this angle, bang. Then I cut shallow again. I'm still on an angle, it's just not 45 degrees. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, 6. I'm right at embassy. Okay, again, I'm doing this in high stances, but I encourage you to think about it. If you look at it off this line, right, so say that I'm on this yellow line here, look at the amount of ground you actually cover. I'm here, I turn, I come out on 45, I kick, punch, punch, I come up, I come down, I kick, punch, punch, block. If you look, I'm almost exactly one stance width, one stance length too far forward. That's where that extra stance gets taken up later in the kata down here. If I go out on a straight line, if I go out on a much tighter angle, right here I turn and I come out. Notice it's almost toe to heel running along the same line. Kick, punch, punch, I come up, toe to heel now for my 45. Now I've only come forward a little. And this is the key. This is what will actually pull your kata forward that little bit so that you can land on embassy and win tournaments. Everybody cheats. So with that, and I challenge you to do it properly at the correct 45-degree angles that are stated within all of the karate books and actually get it back on embassy without cheating any of the stances. You can't. The stances themselves, and I argue the kokutsudachi on this sort of heel-toe kind of angle is in fact, when I change it to Zenkuts, the classic 45 degrees that we actually think of. So this is just an important or an interesting point that's held within the kata. And so with that, have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Train hard, and I look forward to seeing you again. Hey, us. Thank you.